The World Health Organization states that 2.8 million people die worldwide every year due to some form of obesity-related illness. That's over 10,500 people every day, or 7 every minute. That means by the end of this video, close to 200 people would have died due to obesity-related illness. The World Health Organization calls it a global pandemic. But obesity is merely a symptom of a much bigger problem. From the dawn of man, throughout every age, human beings have been driven by one thing: dopamine. Essentially, every time we as humans experience something that is likely to increase our survivability, our brain releases a neurotransmitter called dopamine. Dopamine feels good. It's part of what makes us feel satisfied and happy. The problem is that throughout the last century, companies have been exploiting this by making it really easy to get almost anything, almost instantly. And it is this instantly satisfied lifestyle that has made us all lazy and impatient. We go to the gym and after 2 weeks get frustrated and call it a waste of time if we haven't lost 6 pounds or haven't got the six-pack yet. Many of us don't go shopping anymore because we can have our food delivered to us. The pace at which we expect things now have become our biggest downfall. But what if I told you there's a way to not only lose that 6 pounds or more in 2 weeks, but also teach yourself to not constantly seek that instant gratification? What if I told you that you have the power to turn your life around in so many ways it would seem unfair? Well, in this video, that is exactly what I aim to do, and I will be using what I have already done and achieved as an example. So let me tell you a story about me. I recently decided that I wanted to try my hand at competing in Olympic weightlifting, a sport that consists of 2 movements and 2 movements only. The snatch, which is moving a barbell from the ground into a straight arm overhead position in 1 movement. And the clean and jerk, similar to the snatch, apart from the fact that it is moving the bar to your shoulders first and then overhead. It's a high skill, high strength sport, which I love. It's also a sport that works according to weight classes. And having only ever weighed anywhere between 87 and 92 kilograms, I figured the best class for me would be the 89 kilogram class instead of the 98 kilogram class. So I bought a scale on Amazon, and to my delight in feeding my instant gratification need, the scale arrived the very next day. Having not trained as much as I used to, I felt smaller and figured I'd probably only have to drop a couple kilos or possibly even have to bulk up. So very enthusiastically, I leaped on the scale and waited. Needless to say, the numbers were not what I expected. They were higher, much higher than I had ever weighed, 99 kilograms. Yep! The scariest thing was that the scale said my visceral fat percentage was very high, dangerously high. Visceral fat is the fat layer around your organs, and it is the layer of fat that is a threat to our health. And mine was scary high. It genuinely shocked me and scared me. I was embarrassed, as I always considered myself to be a very healthy individual. I experienced a major setback and felt like a massive failure even before I could set off on this new weightlifting journey. Broken into, torn apart, worlds colliding, and there we are. But I wasn't going to stay down. I took a couple of minutes to process everything and formulate a plan, and within 10 minutes of stepping off the scale, I had one. Not only did I have the plan, I already started implementing it. No point in waiting till Monday, right? So since I dabbled in intermittent fasting in the past and already knew almost all there is to know about it, I figured I would do it again. Only this time I would do it in a much more scientific way. My plan was to document everything I can, weigh in once a week, and when I reach the weight I need to be for the competition, I will retest everything and see what happens. With that in mind, I jumped on Google and quickly found a company that allows you to test your testosterone levels at home. Well, they send you a package which you follow instructions on, send it back, and then eventually you get the results. I'll share these results in a future video when I compare it with the results of when I'm at weight. Anyway, so I set off on my intermittent fasting journey. Now, before I explain to you how I do it and the different ways you can do it, let me just explain what it is first. Intermittent fasting in its simplest form is where you have an eating window and a fasting window. Ideally, the fasting window is 14 hours or more, but many of the benefits can be seen with smaller windows. Now, I always hear people say, "Oh no, Leon, I can't fast, I need my food." Well, you're wrong. You already fast every single day, just you don't realize it. Let's say you have dinner at 6 and then maybe a snack at 8. And then you have breakfast at 7. That's already an 11-hour fasting window. Now all you need to do is have a bigger dinner so you don't feel the need for the snack, and just like that, you're over 12 hours. You can even move these fasting windows around your days you need. For example, let's say you don't really eat till 10 in the morning. You could move dinner or the snack to a later time at night. You also don't have to fast every single day to see awesome benefits. You could do every second day, or even just do it over the weekend or during weekdays. The world of intermittent fasting is your oyster. So I sat down with my wife and I had to figure out how I can fit my fasting windows in with our lives without disrupting her and the baby's lives too much. Luckily, we didn't have to change much in the way we currently live and eat. We're basically just swapping the main meal of the day from dinner to lunch, which actually makes it easier for Anna as well. So I now stop eating whenever we finish dinner, which is usually about 6, and then I start eating again around 12:30 the next day. This is an 18-hour fasting window. I do sometimes, when I'm working late and had a rough training session, either eat a bit later or earlier the next day as I need to. I try to stay around 14 to 18 hours for my fasting window, and apart from that, to be honest, not much has changed in terms of diet. During my eating window, I eat pretty much what I want and as much of that as I want. That's sort of one of the beauties of intermittent fasting. You don't really have to limit any kind of food. As long as you try to have a balanced diet, you can still have a snack or treat if you want. For some reason though, it seems like if I do crave something, now it's usually something that's filling and dense in nutrient value or more healthy. That's not by choice, my body just kind of feels the need for different things, I guess. I also do massive Saturday cheat meal because I like desserts and delicious food, and I honestly believe these things should be enjoyed in life, in moderation of course. Within 10 days I lost just over 5 kilograms, 1% of body fat, and my visceral fat has gone down from 12 to 11. Now that's not a drastic change, but it got me from orange to green, and since it's some of the hardest fat to lose, I do expect it to take some time to get down to about 6, which is my goal. I've sent in testosterone tests the week of starting the intermittent fasting, and once I reach my competition weight, I'll do another video covering all of that. So if you want to see that, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell to get a notification for when I upload that video. There are many benefits of intermittent fasting. One of the biggest is the lowering of insulin. Insulin is considered to be the main anabolic hormone of the human body. This essentially means that while your insulin level is high, all the body will want to do is build. And if there is nothing to build, it will store what it can for when it is required to build. Which means that as long as your insulin levels are elevated, it will be near impossible to burn fat. There are many studies showing beneficial impacts on weight loss and cardiometabolic risk factors like blood pressure, cholesterol, and insulin resistance. Some studies even show a greater benefit from intermittent fasting specifically than from a continuous calorie-restricted style diet. There are some studies showing that intermittent fasting delays or limits age-related disorders, but to be honest, more research is needed for me to say much more about that. There are multiple studies showing that performance does not actually suffer in a fasted state, and some people even claim that they have more energy and clarity of mind when following specifically the 16-hour, 16-8 style intermittent fasting, in which you fast for 16 hours and have an 8-hour eating window. This method of fasting has been shown to be effective in fat reduction while maintaining performance and muscle tissue. The cool thing is that I have been seeing it in myself over the last couple of weeks. As mentioned earlier, my fat has gone down, but I have also gained muscle mass, which means that I lost more fat than the previously stated number, over 5 kilograms. That's friggin' awesome. Intermittent fasting will also help you learn to rely on your own happiness rather than feeling the subconscious need for dopamine all the time, which really helps when making important decisions in life and learning to be patient. My advice would be to start small. Start by extending your current fast by an hour or two. Try this for a couple of weeks and then extend it a bit more. Or you could just go cold turkey for 1 day a week and see how long you can last. Slowly make these fasting windows longer and try adding more days on which you do this. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, so make sure you check with yours before making any drastic decisions. And if you found any value at all in this video, please let me know in the comments and by liking the video. Happy fasting, and I will see you in the next video.